Hello and welcome. What the fuck? We'll just restart that. Blip, 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 blip. Here we go. Hello and welcome to Three's a Crime, a true crime podcast. I'm Tori.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Lindsey.
And that's our intro.
Here we are professional podcasters.
We're podcasters, bitches.
Emily, do you want to tell us about our new / back to our old setup?
Yes. I didn't know where that was going.
I was like, why does Emily look like she doesn't know what's happening?
I didn't know. I kind of thought that's what she was asking, but I wasn't sure. So here's the thing. Listen. Here's something to know about me. When I set my eyes on something, there's no stopping me.
No stopping her.
Nope.
Okay?
No amount of reasoning, logic.
No.
Nobody.
I can't. Michael, I asked him if that was true. Like, if I'm really like that. And he was like, oh, dear. Oh. He gave me like, my sweet wife. Yeah. He's like, I just set my brain on something and I go for it. So, when we wanted to do the video podcast, that was one of those things. And we got really excited about it.
All of us got
really excited about it. Well, it all started with good intentions, and I love how it looked, and I love the idea, but we jumped a little too quick into it, and we were finding that we were focused so much on how the podcast looked versus how the podcast sounded. And we wanted to go back to just
our basics.
So
we'll still be working on that. It's something that we, plan to bring you guys in the future, but we don't want to do anything half-assed. So we're like,
we want to do everything whole-assed.
Yes,
Yes.
whole-assed.
Both properly
both cheeks in.
Both cheeks and whole. Just like that was on our news.
Yeah. Yeah, there was porn on our local news station. We'll post a link to it.
That was Spokane, Washington, guys.
That was here. Yeah. And we also have hired a project manager.
God bless America for this woman.
Yeah, she's brilliant. Her brain is very type A, and she has us like,
oh man, she's
whipping us into shape.
Yeah, seriously,
we needed it so bad.
We're all too creative. We're not. We're not
we
time people or like organized people, and she is like.
We're just idea people. We just throw out ideas, and we're all like, "Oh my god, that's an awesome idea!" And then 2 minutes later, we've already forgotten the idea.
Yeah,
Lindsey may or may not have had time to write it down.
Yeah. Or we've jumped into something entirely new that we weren't into 20 minutes ago.
Right.
Yeah.
So kind of like starting the podcast.
Yeah. So that's all just on the back burner for now. Yeah. Just, you know what?
It'll be coming, but we want it to be like...
We want it to be good.
We all want to learn how to do it properly.
Yeah.
And
like,
it's
and
a whole
also
process.
not like, hey, Emily, can you just like spend every day, all day for like 15 hours a day editing
every
video and audio, make it all sync up, make it look really good.
So that's all to say. It's going on the back burner. It'll be back though.
I want to shout out you, Tanya.
Tanya's
Good job on 1 year no smoking.
Oh yes, 1 year no
yay.
smoking.
Proud of you.
Very, very proud of you, Tanya. And Tanya, if you guys don't know, adopted Sherlock from me. So now his name is Loki. And Baby Dog, who came up with Goldie, may or may not be her daughter. We don't know. That's how they were presented to us. But they also adopted that puppy. So her name is
if you
Daphne.
foster for Tori, you're just gonna keep the dog.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everybody that
Betsy
I've
as well.
Yeah, Betsy, congratulations on your new family member, Lando. I keep getting fosters and then they keep adopting the dogs that I bring up. So I'm really good at getting dogs adopted.
Yeah.
But hey, I don't care. These are dogs that went from death row to now loving families. Yeah. Both of them are going to be spoiled for the rest of their lives. Oh, well, all three of them, I should say. So it all worked out perfectly. So we had talked about my childhood friend who from Georgia, was on a vent with COVID, and she passed away 2 days ago. So not yesterday, but the day before. Jack Kennedy, so one of our listeners, who I don't know if you follow us, you see that we had done a Get Well Soon, and then he also passed away from COVID.
And then my friend Nikki passed away from COVID. So
Like, this has all been in the last couple of weeks.
and
Yeah.
my mom's neighbor that she's lived across the street from for, I don't know, 12 years died. Yeah.
Well,
It's that
and-
time.
And
People are-
Christina's
time.
mom
That makes sense.
is currently still in the hospital,
Oh,
also with COVID.
no.
So while Christina was in there, her mother and her husband had tested positive. He has since tested negative, so I think he got over it. Their son, I don't think, ever got it. Her mom got it, and then her O2 levels were really low. So while Christina was in the hospital, then she had to be taken by ambulance. And so seriously, leaving politics out of it, like, just please, I'm not speaking for these two, but I am asking people, like, if you haven't gotten it for a variety of reasons, just reconsider, because I don't think my little heart can take.
My father-in-law got COVID right after he
That's
got his
right.
booster because he works in the healthcare industry, and he was just out for a week. So it makes your symptoms not as
Right. Yeah. Somebody else who was telling me, somebody had reached out to me about Christina. Oh, Lisa, one of my rescue partners, and their neighbor was vaccinated and he got it. And, he was, again, same thing. He was kind of down and out for a week, but then bounced back, and is okay now.
Like, fuck you.
Right.
Like,
This is
fuck
fine.
you, COVID. I just, you know what? I'm in kind of a mood of like, fuck COVID. I don't care what you think about it. It blows.
Right.
It
Yeah.
sucks.
Right.
I
It's
hate
here.
it.
It's not. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, vaccinate or don't vaccinate, but don't say that it's not real.
Like, it's
because
here.
because that is terrible to say about the people who have lost
Seriously.
Yeah.
loved ones.
Right. Like, if you come up to me and you tell me that it's fake,
I'm
I'm
gonna punch you in the throat.
yeah. Like, I'm not a violent person, dedicated a Quaker, but I'm just saying.
My friend Nikki she passed away a couple weeks ago, but she is someone I grew up with, and I keep having all these like random memories, you
yeah.
know, and
Yeah. That happens.
it's just it's just been like a moment. But she had a celebration of life,
Mhm.
and it was incredibly beautiful, and her sister had strings with little clips of
I was
pictures.
going to say
Right.
a picture clip.
And then
thing.
she printed huge pictures and put them on the trees, which was really cool. You got like a little magnet of Nikki, like it was beautiful. Anyway, and then we got to light off lanterns for her, but let me just say, I am not a crier. Like, ever. Like,
No, she's not.
to get me to cry, I have to watch like Marley and Me and like really be
It
invested.
has to be like
it
a
has
dog
to be
has
dogs.
died.
Has to be
And
dogs.
nothing else will get
Yep.
me to cry. And no one wants to go to like a funeral, right? But I was like okay with it. I was gonna go, and then like the day came, and I was like, I just feel a little.
I got some anxiety about this.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And we went, and no one told me it was going to be a fucking hike when I parked. Let me just tell you that. I parked, and then I had to
no.
like walk up the hill. I got a blister on my foot. It was a whole thing. But once I got to the top and I saw all the pictures, I like it just flowed out of my body. And poor Michael was just like,
She
he's
never
like-
does this.
He literally was like, I've never seen this before. Like, I don't know what to do. And so I had my sunglasses on, and then I'm like, I just need to sit on a bench. I just need like a minute before I walk over to all of these people. And her dad, he goes, hey, I had, again, sunglasses on. He goes, my name's Tim. And I'm like, yeah, Tim. My name's Emily Kyson from like 20 years ago. And he was like, oh, take off your glasses so I can see you. And it's just like mascara and eyeliner all down my face. And then I immediately had guilt because I'm saying it to her dad. And her dad is like, he goes, oh, don't cry. Like, she lived this amazing life. And I was having a really hard time, but I took a shot. Do you want a shot? And I was like, that would make you feel so much better. I immediately had guilt because her dad wasn't crying. And then I asked like how her mom was doing, and he was like, she's having a really hard time. She's like in the car. She can't be
Oh,
like around
God. I
people."
would be in the car.
And she was crying in the car. But her sister walked up to me. I had like held it together for a second. And they had a bouncy castle. These are my 3 funny things I had to tell you. They had a bouncy castle for the kids. And I'm again crying, and I hear this little girl bouncing, and this little boy goes, stop. And she goes, would Nikki want me to stop? And then just kept bouncing. And I was like, you, whoever's child you are,
100%.
you 100%. We lit off lanterns and it was beautiful. And the other funny thing I had to tell you was that I had to take a piss so fucking bad because when I was crying, I couldn't stop. So I didn't take a shot, but I downed a beer real quick. And I was like, I have to pee so bad. And I'm watching all these lanterns go off and I'm like, do you think I can just like go in that bush over there? Because everyone's looking like up at the sky. Do you think I can get away with it? And he's like, I guess. And so I walked over and took a pee while everyone was staring at the lanterns. So, but her sister walked up to me, and her sister and I are friends on Facebook, and she just like destroyed me. She goes, oh my God, Nikki and I were just listening to your podcast the other weekend. And it was like, like stuck in my stomach. And when she said it like she was like, they listen all the time, like she's still here. And she said, yeah, she's been telling me for, you know, weeks to listen to it. And we finally sat down and listened to it. And I was like, and then her mom, I was like, I'm Emily. She's like, oh my God, Emily, like I remember you saw Mary Kay now. And she was like, oh my God, it just,
yeah. You don't realize the effect you have on people until you're like, yeah.
Oh my God. When she said we listened to your podcast, I don't know why that just like ripped out my insides, but I think it was because I don't know.
It's been so long.
I think
yeah.
You don't
like,
really talk every day, but she's
right.
still supporting you.
Right.
And you're just like, and I didn't know.
Exactly.
I didn't know she had listened. I think that's probably what it was.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, so a couple of I guess it was a couple of months ago now, a former colleague and friend of mine died, not from COVID. It was something like she had like a blood clot.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was crazy. She was like 38. And so I think, you know, with Christina, like we were friends when we were really small. Like we went to kindergarten and first grade together, and then I went to a different school. But, you know, our moms always kept in touch. We would get together and play. And then even as we've grown up and grown older, we were friends on Facebook and would message from time to time. And it's like I feel guilty because I wasn't in closer touch with her or Melissa before these things happened. And you realize like you're never going to get that chance.
It's just weird
to get it back. And it
fucks with you.
I had that same thing. But when my friend who murder-suicide, he like called me a week before and he was in town. But I didn't answer because I think I missed it or something. But
and then you just think about it every fucking day when you're
I should have
like what if I had answered the phone?
Yeah.
But and it sucks because it probably had nothing to do with it. Nothing was anyone's fault, but it just
I couldn't have helped him with whatever that. In any
way.
The
the last time I saw Nikki was at my bachelorette party because we grew up and went to like kindergarten for I don't even know until I moved to Spokane, which was in 7th grade. And then she was my customer for a while. Her mom was my customer through her for a while. And then I saw her at a bar and I had a bad time because, long story short, my bridesmaids did not give me a bachelorette party. They just they were like, what are we doing? And I'm like, I'm the bride. I thought like you were supposed to tell me what we were doing. Anyway, someone thought I intentionally didn't plan my bachelorette party to spite her. And I was in a whole bad mood and it was this whole thing. And I was like, I just want to go home. Anywho, saw Nikki at Crickets. And I was like, oh my God. And she's like, we're going to this gay bar. And I forgot what it was called, but she's like, you have to go.
In town?
It was in Coeur d'Alene.
Oh, okay.
And
any other bars over there.
Yeah, because I just wanted to walk around at bars, but not be in like a huge city. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Coeur d'Alene is perfect.
I want to fucking go home after.
It's
I don't
really nice. You can definitely do like a square.
Yeah.
And there's great bars that are like outdoors. It's a great spot. We showed up and it was like you go down. You don't even know it's there. You're literally walking into a creepy basement.
Oh,
that's suddenly a huge
this is not it.
discotheque. And I remember I wasn't even drinking because I was just having so much fun dancing. And then outside there was a taco truck and I got the world's biggest burrito and I was so sore the next day. Well, that was my story about Nikki. But I wanted to say that COVID blows and
it's fucking bullshit.
Yeah. And just fucking
it's just unfair. And I think what's scarier for me this time with the Delta variant, because not that I wasn't freaked out in 2020, but, you know, it was hitting mostly older people with, you know, comorbidities, etc.
Yeah.
And this Delta variant, man, it doesn't give a shit. It's taken out everybody and anybody. It doesn't matter how old or how young you are.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that, yes, most people will get COVID and will get over it and, they'll be really sick. But there are the people that die, which is just tragic. I mean, Christina's my age, so she's 42. She's a little boy, that's awful. And then my best friend Michelle has long haulers. So she had COVID over a year ago and she still has to have a steroid rescue inhaler. And it's just like, going to see her doctors are basically like, yeah, you're probably going to have these lung issues for like the rest of your life.
Yeah. They don't know. They still don't know what the fuck is going to be the end.
And so, like, again,
it's just
certainly not telling anybody what to do. All right. Are you guys ready for your presents?
I'm really excited.
I'm really excited. So,
is it a puppy?
It is not.
Is it $100? Is it $1,000? Is it a cave? Is it a planet?
Cave?
Did you buy me a planet?
Is it a cave?
I couldn't think of
anything.
anything.
Why would she want a cave?
I don't know. The one you came out of.
Okay.
God.
It's not a cave. So last weekend was the Imperial Sovereign Court of Spokane's 50th coronation. It was loads of fun. And my friends, Matt and Jen, who own Mojo, which is a cannabis soda company, were there. So they have a lot of new stuff out. And so in order to support them, I got you guys. This is for Lindsey, and as you guys may know, Lindsey is having bariatric surgery at the end of the month, and she is on this liver shrinking diet where she can't have any caffeine or any sugar, and so they make sparkling waters. So no sugar and no calories, and so
but
that
10
is for
milligrams
you.
of THC,
Hell
bitch.
yes,
Since I can't
that's perfect.
imbibe myself, I got them for you guys so that I can support them. And so you get one of their new flavors, cherry lime.
Yum.
looks
Thank
delicious.
you. Mojo sponsor us.
Right? And I got you guys, these did come from them.
Ooh,
You
they're
guys
so
each got a little Mojo sticker.
Those are so cute.
So that is for Matt and Jen. Those are for me. But
Thank
to
you,
support
Matt
them.
and Jen.
Yes.
Oh my god, I'm so excited to try this.
I am
Right?
too.
Yeah. So those are your presents for today from me.
You.
One other thing that I wanted to mention about Mojo that I think is really cool is that they donate part of their proceeds to the Last Prisoner Project.
But Lindsey's getting surgery.
We're getting surgery, bitch.
Lindsey's getting surgery, bitch.
Getting surgery.
And not only is she getting surgery, but it's like a spa vacation surgery
Like
center.
we're trying to go with her.
Yeah, like we
Yeah.
really want to go. And the thing that makes me mad is like you got to go to New Orleans. You're going to Vegas and getting picked up in a limo.
Yeah, that's like part of what the freaking.
Yeah, right.
Like shut up! I don't even want to get surgery. I don't want to go there.
Well, then
Like they should if they put slot machines like in the recovery room.
there might be some. We
Danger.
don't
Like
know. We
Oh,
don't know
I'm
yet.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So yeah, so she's going to Vegas. This one went to New Orleans. I don't get to do anything. So this is why we really need you guys to step up and become patrons so that we
Yeah.
can take some trips to bring you more content. Like don't worry,
Yes.
it's really for you, but also, for me,
No.
that's okay.
Mostly for Tori.
Mostly for
It's
me.
just for Tori.
I need to
Well,
you
I
know.
need a new car now.
Yeah.
Oh
apparently.
jeez, yeah, that was
So-
today.
Okay, listen. So my car, it is a 98 Subaru. Just for for reference, I was born in 93.
I
and
graduated in 97.
And I'm kind of like, okay, I'm almost
high school, not college. High school.
I'm almost 30 years old, and like I'm still driving. Like it's a great car.
The
It's
Subarus
Subaru.
last
It lasts.
forever.
Yeah.
It's just listen. My horn doesn't work. My cruise control just gave out. My heat just gave out, and my car started smoking today. You can't unlock the back doors from the front door, and you can only lock the whole car from the outside on one side of the car. It has its things, okay? But she has gotten me far, and she only has
Yeah.
138,000 miles on her.
Wow,
And-
that's incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, I bought it from an old couple who had it the whole time. Bought it $1,500
Mm.
like 10 years ago, and I have only ever paid for like new tires and oil changes. It's a great car.
That's probably why everything is going to shit.
I know.
Yeah, it's finally the time of it to die.
So, if we could get some patrons so that I could buy a new car, not even anything fun, just something
Yeah.
newer than 1998 would be cool.
Yeah.
and if anybody wants to be a patron and help pay some of my medical bills,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
all really. Tori has vacation. She has medical bills. I need a vehicle. And Tori hasn't had a vacation in like 100 years, so it's
Yeah.
right on par with surgery.
2013 was
that's
the last
absurd.
like actual vacation that I took, and I went to Alaska, and Alaska is cool as hell.
So, I've been trying to get bariatric surgery for
a long time.
a very long time.
At least 2 years. I mean, since I've known you, 2
Yeah,
years.
I was denied 3 times, so I was like, "Well, fuck this! I'm not gonna do it through insurance." And then, I found this place on the internet. It's like a vacation surgery, but not in Mexico. It's in Vegas. So it includes like transportation from the airport to the appointments.
In a freaking limo. And you're paying for it out of pocket because insurance denied you so many times.
Yes. My wonderful husband was like, "Hey, let's refinance our house." And I said, "Oh!"
I'm super proud of you for doing that, because if I would have gotten money from refinancing my house, I don't think it would have even crossed my mind to do something for my health. I'm like,
Yeah. Like, I might have gone to Vegas.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I don't know if I
the
would have
rest
gone
of
to
it,
Vegas
the rest of
for
it, she wouldn't have
that.
done,
Yeah. No, it is awesome. Especially
Yes.
because, you know, being your friend and watching you. So the last time, like, she was
Sorry, I'm
approved.
doing
Like,
this.
approved. It was scheduled. Everything
Yeah.
was good to go. Like, this train was rolling. And then it was like, what, two weeks before
2
your
weeks
surgery?
before.
Then they were like, oh, wait, hold on. No, we're not going to approve it. And it was
Yeah.
like, you got to be kidding me.
But it was kind of good because then COVID hit.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I
Oh.
guess this works. But it was still shitty.
Right.
And it still
Dude.
said no. And the insurance pretty much said they will not cover anything that has to do with your weight because it's your own fault. It's just pretty much the basics of what they said.
bullshit.
Yeah. So I get a hotel, and then they have a private hospital.
I Facebook stalked it. I Google stalked it. Because I was telling Brittany about it. She's like, that sounds bougie as fuck. I'm like,
It
let's
is.
Google it. We were like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks very cool.
It's like the best service I've ever gotten.
She's going to be gone during Halloween.
Yes, I leave the 27th, come back
Which is-
November 1st.
Which is so sad. A little bit sad because, you know,
That's like her favorite.
That's my
it's her
holiday.
Christmas,
My
you know,
holiday.
like,
But yeah, it'll be good. I'll try to like put stuff on my stories about the adventures.
did you want to talk about how you are now TikTok famous because
Yeah,
of your
bitch.
dog?
I don't know if you've seen Mia on TikTok. That's my dog. Yeah, I made a video about my deaf dog, and it went a little
Viral.
bit viral.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean for it to, and none of my other videos have done that well. I was like, here it is, I've made it. Nothing happened. So she's the breadwinner of the house now. We don't make any money off of it, but I went from like 34 TikTok followers, now I have 15.4 thousand. And
Which is awesome.
10,000 of it was, I think, in like 24 hours.
Yeah, it was crazy. We were just
Yeah.
watching. It was like
We just
every
kept
time
watching
you
it go
looked,
up.
it
Yeah.
was-
And then that will be perfect for our next point, because I contacted BarkBox and I
Yay.
said, I have the deaf dog Mia from TikTok. And can I have a code for a discount? They were like, bitch, yes. So we have two. Yeah. So BarkBox and Super Chewer. And they're the same company, but Super Chewer is the one for heavy chewers that my
Like-
dogs use.
Right.
And
or
if
my
you,
dogs.
and if you look on my TikTok, I show you a video of them just opening their brand new box.
Yeah, it's very
Cute.
cool. I think we
Um,
actually put that on the Threes of Crime TikTok too.
So if you go to barkbox.com/3AC, or the link in our link tree will take you to it too.
Yeah.
And right now you get a free skeleton hoodie for your dog.
I saw that. I'm like,
Goddamn, I need to
I
order
want
that.
it.
You can cater it to your dogs, and like if your dogs have any allergies, or my dogs are super chewers, but they like ripping off like I got a ball and on the outside is like a fabric thing, and Charlie has already ripped it off, but he keeps carrying the carcass around. Let's talk about coronation.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
coronation. So my friend Paradise Rose was the Empress last year, and so this was her step down sort of ceremony. So it was 2 days. It was downtown in the Doubletree Hotel, which is actually quite a very nice hotel. I've never stayed there.
Nice.
That way.
Nice.
One of the best things about the Doubletree is when you check in, they give you two. Well, you couldn't have it, but not right now. They give you two, like, warmed chocolate chip oatmeal, like, and there's like a nut. I don't know if it was walnuts or pecans or what cookie.
Yeah.
When you check in.
Fucking bullshit. I want it right now.
Yeah.
And if you go back and ask them later, they'll give you more.
What? Oh my god, I heard on the Facebook group, I'm sorry for bariatric, I can ask for my last meal while I'm in Vegas.
Oh my god, that's
But you have to ask for
amazing.
it.
What are you gonna get?
I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm scared because I don't want to like fuck myself up the
Right
next
before,
day.
yeah.
Maybe ask them.
I might get just like a delicious steak with some
Like, what's
mashed
like a
potatoes.
good treat?
I don't know. She just looked at me and went, steak and mashed potatoes. And it was very much like Anthony Hopkins being like, I ate his liver with da-da-da and fava beans.
So Lindsey, as of this recording, Lindsey posted the most recent update, but
I want to make sure you guys know, his last name is Laundrie,
I kept
like
saying,
washing laundry, not Landry.
what was I saying?
You guys both
Landry.
both said Landry.
Sorry.
Sorry,
laundry.
he doesn't deserve the respect.
Did you guys see the thing though that I sent you? I felt really weird about this because I don't disagree, but then at the other time, like, it made me feel real weird. So like, I really respect.
There's the loud car guy.
janky car.
Janky car guy.
I don't think though that was
I don't think
janky
that's him,
car,
but that was
a janky car.
Yeah.
Do you think it was mine?
It would have to run to be yours. I've always really respected John Walsh. I think that, I mean, he went through an unimaginable tragedy. Maybe I'll cover that story next.
I don't know who that is.
John Walsh, America's Most Wanted.
Most Wanted.
So anyway, so John Walsh, you know, I'm not even going to go into, because I think that's actually a really good story. I should cover that story.
Well, especially now that you know I haven't heard it.
That's but
check off for Tori.
you know how
Emily hasn't heard it.
when, like, if you're in a mall or a store and a child goes missing, they'll call a code Adam and they'll
And
lock
shut
the
up.
doors
That's right.
so that people can't leave until they find the child, and that's because of his son. Anyway, so John Walsh was the host of America's Most Wanted, which was a TV show that was kind of like Unsolved Mysteries,
Was he the
except
host
it was
before this happened or after this
he
happened?
was
After
after because
he
he
really went hard. Into,
he did like
Okay.
he was part of getting the National Missing Children. I can't remember what it's
missing
called.
children. Yeah,
The
the
Missing Children
national database
Base of
for
missing children and like
missing
kids
and
on
exploited children.
yes, and then kids on milk cartons. Like
Yeah.
all of that came from work that he did, and then he became the host of America's Most Wanted. But anyway, he was interviewed by someone, and he was talking about Brian Laundrie, and was basically like, because the lady was sort of like, well, if you could talk to Brian Laundrie right now, what would you say? And he was like, go kill yourself. Do everybody a favor and just go kill yourself. I mean, it was like
wild from him. That's
from him. It was
crazy.
because he's always very like
professional.
I
and
thought he
like,
would say turn yourself
like-
in. I didn't think he'd say kill yourself.
Yeah.
that's what I would have expected. And you know, it's funny because like if like I could hear Nancy Grace saying something like that.
totally.
Oh, for real.
You know, she had tragedy though. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, but she's definitely always been more of the
She's much more harsh.
she is. She got no time for
She
any
doesn't
of
give
it.
a fuck.
So just to hear him be like, and I mean, he's real like, no, really, go kill yourself.
Like made no bones about
No
it.
Oh my God,
bones.
what'd the person say?
She just, you know, she was real quiet, let him do his whole thing, and then
Oh,
she's
yeah.
like, okay, well, and thanks. You've done, you know, thank you for all the work you've done in this area. I mean, just because, I mean, even her face is kind of like, you know, then there's this part of me that's like, I don't know that we should be advocating suicide for anybody. I don't know
Not
that,
really.
you know, and regardless of what he did, and I'm not he's still somebody's child. You know what I mean?
Even
And
if
it's just like,
his parents
do you
are-
think that you're going to get his parents to cooperate by saying, yeah, you should
Yeah.
go kill yourself?
I
I don't know.
think-
It just felt icky.
That's-
And I understand where he's coming
Yeah.
from, especially as a parent who lost a child. And like, I won't go in further, but it still just felt icky. And that's the other side of it with the John Walsh thing, is where I'm like, no, I want them. I mean, I kind of think that's what he went off to do. But
I do too. I have a feeling
I think
that's
so
what he went
too.
off to do.
But if he didn't, I mean, no. I want him caught. I want him tried. I want him to have to admit what he did. I want
Yeah.
him to spend his life in prison.
And we want to know what happened. Her
Yeah.
family wants
wants
to know what happened.
Right.
Like, we still just know she was found in a canyon and was strangled. Like,
Right.
that's all we know.
and that her body was out there for 3 weeks.
Yeah,
3 to 4 weeks. I watched all the Dr. Phil's that they've done, and her dad just he breaks my heart. He's just like the tough guy. I think they're from New Jersey or
Right.
Oh, he's
Florida,
from Jersey.
but he's got like this. He's like a tough guy, but
But
his heart is so big for her.
Yeah, I love, he's the dad that you want to have.
Totally.
Like, yeah, that was his baby girl. I did read that Doug the bounty hunter, he believes that Brian I think he thinks that the parents were kind of in on,
Yeah, I think when they went on their little camping trip.
Well, he made a call or he said, now he provided no evidence for this, but he said that Brian Laundrie called his parents from a spot near where Gabby's body was found. And like, basically his theory is that he called his parents and was like, hey, I, screwed up big time. And they were like, okay, just come home. Like, come home and we'll take care of it, which is...
Sounds right.
I mean...
For him,
yeah. He got home. I mean, he was there for a week.
Didn't say shit. 10
And
days.
Gabby was living with them. So, like, don't you think that, like, they would be like, why are you back here? Where is Gabby? They have to know more than what they're saying they do.
1,000%.
Because, like, there were no questions when he showed up at home without her.
Right,
Like, they had to have known. And, I mean, if he's not dead, then they did something to get him out of the country.
I keep thinking Mexico.
But here's the thing about, you could get to Mexico, but Mexico will extradite to the U.S.
If he's caught.
I keep picturing him in like a forest. I don't know why. I picture him dextering somewhere. Just fucking off and being a lumberjack somewhere.
God damn it. That new thing better not be bad.
So upon editing Shoot the Shit, a bunch more shit has happened.
Yes.
Right, so
that goes with Shoot the Shit.
Here's your STS addendum for the week of this one.
This week.
This one.
I think it's a 20 something.
We're gonna add all this in. Happy Shoot the Shit. We should probably give another update on Brian Laundrie because our last update is no longer an update, and many things have happened since our Shoot the Shit episode.
Update.
Oh, well, yeah.
So Shoot the Shit, he was still missing.
Right.
And then he was just located 3 days ago, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So
his remains,
his parents, from what I understand, sort of insisted that they recheck a particular area.
I heard his parents were... This is all hearsay, but, like, I heard his parents were there, and they were the ones that called the police.
Like, they found him first.
Like, they were like, oh, we should just go, like, take a nice little walk in this area, and, like, found him, and then, yeah.
I think they all planned it, and he either killed himself or they just left him.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of in conspiracy theory land, which is...
She went straight to, I don't like it.
She was immediately like, teeth aren't DNA.
Yeah.
Teeth aren't DNA.
It's true.
They're not. Now, one thing that they can do, which I have started researching my Adam Walsh case, so that's coming up. They had a lot of time to plan.
Yeah.
If they wanted to fake his death, because if he's, But then I was like, okay, you'd have to get a lot of people on board dental records wise, because like you'd have to get your dentist to.
I mean, have you seen the whole 9 yards with Matthew Perry and Bruce Willis? Because they try to do that.
I haven't, but
it's really funny.
But it's not. It's not even. That's not even the only story, where people have tried to do this. So that's. I mean, that is kind of where my brain went. My other thought was, perhaps he went out there with like his dad, and his parents thinking, our kid's never going to be able to survive prison, so they just shoot him in the back of the head.
I feel they all agreed, and he knew he was never going to not guilty. I really think it was all planned.
Well,
but like as a parent though, could you, if your kid was like, I need you to like, or I'm gonna go kill myself, I can't handle prison or whatever, like could you as a parent?
That's what my mom said, but I said they didn't say shit when Gabby didn't come home and she was living with them. So these parents are like,
they're not
another level, because the sister came out and was like, this is bullshit.
Right.
I watched
parents are doing bullshit right now.
An entire interview with his lawyer where he was asked if he spoke to Brian Laundrie, and he sure fucking did. Apparently he had like a whole conversation with him when he came home, but it's privileged information, so we won't say what he said.
Fuck. Probably told him everything.
And then I also saw a TikTok, and this is a rumor, so I probably shouldn't be spreading it, but you know what?
It's what
there was a TikToker.
We're disclaiming that this is a rumor.
These are all alleged
things that we've heard.
These are
like this is just adding to the conspiracy. But there was a guy on TikTok who said that he was friends with the ME, who like performed the
Saw that,
autopsy,
yeah.
and said that it was a gunshot wound to the head.
Right. That's where I got that from. I was, what did I say? I commented on somebody's thing, and I'm like, I read somewhere that it was a gunshot.
You read from me.
Yeah,
me.
I read from you.
That's
For me,
right.
the shit you're.
Well, so I was editing that day, and then someone messaged us and said,
Denise White.
Denise messaged us and was like, oh my fucking God, they found human remains. And then Hannah commented in our group and said, like, they also found his notebook and like she just kind of and then she sent the link for the live video, and I had it live streaming on my iPad for like 5 hours while I was editing, just waiting for something new to happen.
My friend Missy, I love you. She sent me a link. She was like, the notebook was in an underwater bag. So
it was. They weren't
was
sure.
Dry. So hopefully it's like not. Fucked.
So yeah, I watched it when I was watching it as the FBI. They were like, okay, we're gonna do this press conference. I watched the press conference where they basically said nothing. But they did mention the notebook, which is interesting that they mentioned it before even examining it, unless maybe it had a suicide note in it. Like the FBI keeps shit
tight,
close to the vest. They're not gonna. It's interesting that they mentioned a notebook. So I wonder, I hope there's at least a confession in there. Like at least so like her family.
Whether he wrote it or not.
I hope that the truth is written down, I guess, is what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck why you killed yourself and like how you felt guilty and whatever, but like I want to know what happened. So does her family.
Yeah, that's I feel her poor family.
It just, look, clearly Brian had some serious issues, like the way that he treated her. Clearly this was not just a fight that they had randomly on a vacation. Like he clearly
they had
consistent behavior because she behaves just like a.
But even still, I'm like, these are 2 kids in their early 20s. Like
really
it just did not have to happen like this.
Yeah,
like, this just did not have to happen.
And what I wanted to say that just made my heart sick before we found out it was him on the live stream, they were live streaming his parents' house the whole time, which made me feel weird because they didn't blur out the address or their license plates, and they had 3 vehicles in the driveway.
Oh,
and then
I don't like that.
And
That's
then
creepy.
when the press conference, was it the press conference? I don't know. They were live streaming the house, and everyone on the street started chanting, "Your son is burning in hell." And I was watching it live, and the reporters couldn't like hear. They're like, there must be something wrong with the microphones because we can't hear it. And I'm like, bitch, all of us can, and all of them are just chanting "Justice for Gabby, your son is burning in hell." And I'm like, fuck you guys, like that's some Westboro Baptist Church fucking
mob
shit.
Like
it
is.
Mob. It really is, and it's like, look, I felt weird when I was doing our little TikTok where I say, regardless of what he did, because it sounds like I'm trying to excuse what he did, and in no way, shape, or form. But at the same time, like
there's 2
he was
sides.
someone's kid.
He was someone's kid.
Yeah, he was a
there's
person.
still people, and this kind of goes back to what we've talked about multiple times about, feeling for not just the victim and the victim's family, but also the perpetrator's family, because they didn't. Now, I'm kind of leaving Brian's parents out of this because we do not know if they did anything wrong. Like, I don't know, obstructing justice, or as Law and Order, perverting the course of justice.
Dun, dun.
But he's still somebody's kid. He's still somebody's brother. There were people out there that loved him too, and they didn't do anything wrong. And so, I mean, it's just, the whole mob mentality thing is just
alarming.
It's very alarming.
It's
It was like this week.
right now.
This week, another person committed suicide jumping off one of the bridges downtown in Spokane.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
And I typically do not try to stay away from the comment sections in general.
Yeah.
But it was
The
right
C-section.
there. The C-section. And some of the people, people just start arguing about, like there should be an there shouldn't be an and it's just, so everybody's, shouting out their opinion. but also like people get so like anything that could be remotely divisive these days. The people in the comment section, I was just like, you know what? I kind of understand how people these days, just looking at this comment section and other comment sections, how people are sad and despondent and feel alone. And I'm like, look at the way y'all talk to each other.
Yeah.
We've completely lost our humanity.
It's just disgusting. Like, everyone's just turning disgusting now and, like, hating everybody for any fucking reason they can think of. And, like, I don't know why we need to think of more reasons to hate people.
Right.
Like, it's just a waste of energy and time. And it's
is.
gross. And it makes it feel like we live in a gross, fucking nasty place where people aren't fucking human anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for coming to our TED Talk.
Yeah. So I mean, we know that our weirdlings are awesome people.
Yes.
But we all just need to encourage everybody else to just be fucking better, man. Just
and
be
avoid the
better.
Get good.
That is another thing, though, that we should talk about real quick is the TikTok drama of the week. The Daddy's
Oh my God,
Girls
yes.
cult.
Tell me about this, Tori.
Yeah. If you're on TikTok, you may or may not have seen this, but a lot of people doing lives and talking with survivors. And but from what I've gathered, so it is a group that was started by a woman named Angela. I don't know her last name.
That's probably good.
And I have not I've not looked her up on TikTok because from one of the things that a lot of the survivors say is that she's a complete narcissist and enjoys the attention, positive or negative. So like, and a lot of people are encouraging, like, please don't go to her page. Don't watch her TikToks. Like, don't engage.
Such a bummer because that immediately makes me want to go look at her
Right,
TikTok.
exactly. So from what I can understand, Angela used to be a more full-figured woman. Also known as like the BBW, so big beautiful women. So we're talking plus size women. But the group is made up of primarily African American women who are plus size. So it was started, apparently she had a page before this, and it was everybody that has joined, all the survivors that I listened to, talk about how it was like they joined because it was like an empowerment group, and that they felt like they were each other's sisters, and you know, it was just a great group. And then things took a turn where like at some point and a lot of the women that are in this group are also lesbians, and Angela's a lesbian who, one of the women that I listened to, Bella, so she's like a higher up, and she's supposedly out now, but I think it was because like CPS got involved. And so, because she was still defending this Angela person when they were interviewing her.
Wow. Okay.
But one of the things that she had said was, so this woman apparently had, let me backtrack. She had a following of like 150,000 people.
Jesus Christ.
And there was another chick who noticed this stuff back in June. That was the Twitter account that I sent you guys. She had noticed it back in June and actually got her taken down.
Wow.
And then since then, she just, you know, they just create a new page
they
and
just
start
slither
over.
and
And so
slip
now
around it.
she's back up to like 50,000 followers. So the disturbing things come where it's like, I think they felt like they had to send her money. They call her daddy. So that's why they're Daddy's Girls.
Hate that.
Some of the things were like, one woman apparently had gone away for a weekend and didn't ask for daddy's approval. And so they were all like, you have to cut yourself like 300 times as punishment. So like there's a little sprinkling in there of like there's some BDSM stuff, which there's nothing wrong with BDSM as long as all participants consent. One of the other really big issues is that there are some younger girls in there that have joined that group, 14, 15, because like somebody was like, like I found out my daughter was in there and like, oh hell no. So, and that's, I'm so glad that I don't have children and that's not a concern. I was talking about this with my friend Heather, with her daughter, and she was like, she's not allowed to have a TikTok, like for specifically these reasons. Although she also was not supposed to be watching Squid Game and other comes in and catches Bristol and her friend watching Squid Game, and Heather was like, "Oh hell no!
Oh my
like,
god!
no,
How old is
thank
she?
you, 11."
Oh my god!
So, yeah. So
She's
no
like,
Squid
the fuck,
Game.
this is happening.
Yeah, like
What
no.
the fuck?
So with this whole Angela thing, I mean, like women are coming out in droves. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say. So this Bella woman, apparently, most of her followers Angela has not met, but there are about 4 or 5 of with whom she was in a sexual relationship with, but she also has a partner that she's been with for several years.
Wow.
But according to Bella, she was told when they started entering into this arrangement that that she was polyamorous and she was going to continue to be polyamorous, but that this other woman, like, you will only be with me.
Oh.
And so they were, they're doing interviews with all of these different people are popping on, and there was a chick that was just like, look, I'm poly, and I'm in poly relationships, and she's like, that is not a poly relationship.
No.
Like, that is a control issue. You don't get to say, I'm gonna have sex with anybody I want to, but you can only be with me. But this was something that woman had, agreed to. And
Right.
Did she just get like a cult? How to cult?
how-to cult.
I mean, it really is.
TikTok
This
cult.
is like
you know?
NXIVM, like the slave.
Oh, it's
stuff.
it's 100%. Somebody in the
hurting
comments,
yourself.
one of the videos I was watching said, like, holy shit, this is just like NXIVM.
Yeah.
And it absolutely totally
She
is.
used so many
And
things.
that's the thing about cults is, a lot of people are just like, well, I don't understand how you could get like duped into this, because I'm just like, but it doesn't start where it ends.
No.
Oh,
it starts.
listen to this great new podcast called Histories of Crime. There's a lot of cults we're learning. There's a lot of, and they all turn out, they start so innocently.
They try, and then the
best,
power.
The best. What is the term? The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yes.
And I mean, it's true, and it's so everything that starts out, and it honestly, the way down, that one that just came out, the churchy one with the lady with the crazy hair.
Oh God.
That's the only one that I've watched. I've watched a lot of cult documentaries, and I'm always really concerned because I'm like, shit, I feel like this is something that I might have joined.
Right.
That one was not. That
No.
one was not.
No,
one
that was definitely
triggered through that whole thing. Luckily, it was only a few episodes, but anyway. So we'll keep an eye on that. But what's been happening with these women is that they apparently, when people are starting to speak out, and I think now so many people have come forward that TikTok's gonna have to do something. But what was happening is anybody that was trying to speak out about them, their 50,000 fan base
would attack them,
but would also mass report them for violating community standards for bullying.
They cancel them
and get them suspended or whatever.
Yeah. A lot of people do that as like a weapon.
Well, and
on
I was,
TikTok.
and if that's not just happening with this, I saw there was a drag. My algorithm is all animals and gays.
That's
mostly
funny.
gays. Which I do. I love the gay. Like,
We
oh
love
my
the
gosh,
gays.
We love 'em.
I love the positivity fairy.
Oh.
I love, the two guys that are just like,
Oh,
hey, honey,
yeah.
Well, and then there's also a lot of African American women, the ones that are like, girl,
Yeah.
did anybody tell you you're fabulous today? And I'm like, that's right, I am fabulous. Thank you.
Oh my God.
There's a lot of drag queens and then gays that I follow who get mass reported by fucking homophobic assholes.
Yeah.
While they're just doing their lives. Like, they're not doing anything, but their sheer existence is a problem
bullshit.
for some people. But that was the other thing I wanted to say about the group, Daddy's Girls. I'm just like, you're taking women who are marginalized on 3 fronts. They're women.
Yeah.
They're African American, and they're plus size.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just, the predatory behavior is really, really super
Gross.
creepster. Yeah.
Super
Very gross. Like I said, you're into BDSM. That's awesome. Like, cool.
Yeah.
Do
Do what you want to do. Have your good times.
Yeah, as long as everybody is consenting.
Yeah.
But having to self-harm for punishment
That's
that is not
a red flag.
that somebody doesn't want to do and they're being bullied into doing it, that shit ain't right.
No.
Otherwise.
And the Alec Baldwin.
Oh, right.
God.
It's been a
Oh
fucking
my
week, man.
God.
That is so awful.
I've
Yeah.
been following
You're
the
in charge of
strike of the
that
whole
story.
like production, like the whole people who make shit work.
Mhm.
So they were on strike before this happened, or
They're working
now
to get a union going, so they are working regular hours. They have at least 2 days off. They get a lunch, and they don't have. Some people would have to drive 2 or more hours to work for 12 hours, drive home 2 hours,
Ew.
and do it again and again and again, with no breaks. Really, no food for them. It was terrible. So they started to do that, but then like the crew that was on the movie Rust, that Alec Baldwin, this all happened, the union said they're not working in these conditions, and so they hired other people that were not union.
Is that how it happened?
Shit
someone...
was like they said
It
these
just
guns
wasn't
were not
handled, right.
working 2 days before. Like they had shot off.
I still don't understand
accidentally.
how you put real bullets in a prop gun.
Well, I watched this thing about the Crow because he was
right, because it wasn't a live round.
They have
yet.
stuff in them.
Right.
Some of them have stuff in them, if it hits you right.
I thought I
it'll
saw
hurt you.
that with the Alec Baldwin one, though, it was that there were real bullets in there. Was that not the case?
I don't know if that's confirmed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but they've had a lot of issues on that set before this happened.
That is so
well, and like
sad.
I just really, I mean, look, Alec Baldwin's got some issues.
Oh my
He's
God.
not my favorite man in the
Yeah.
entire world. But I
This
do
is so-
feel
yeah.
horrible
Can
for
you
him.
imagine shooting a gun thinking it was a prop and then...
It went through the cinematographer's shoulder and then hit the director right behind her. So it was just like bam, bam.
Oh my God.
So he's in the hospital. They haven't said anything.
Right. But she passed
She's
away.
passed.
And just the description of how the state he was in.
Yeah,
And I don't want to make it about him because he's still alive. He's fine. But
yeah,
this was a traumatic event that happened.
yeah,
and-
it's not like an on purpose.
No, but it makes you want, like, will there be charges, like involuntary manslaughter charges?
That's what I was wondering too.
Or is it on him? Is
I
it
think
on the production company?
Should
the
be on the
faulty-
fucking
I think it
production
would be on the
company.
production
I
company.
hope so.
I mean, like, I'm pretty
He
sure
just
they're
went
gonna
to
get
work
sued.
and used something and expected it to work
That's
as
true.
expected.
Right.
You just showed up to work that day and went in to do your job.
Right.
It's
Well,
not
I'm
his job
pretty
to check
sure that the production company is
I
gonna. I
mean-
mean, they're gonna get sued for
I hope her family
Wrongful
sues
death.
them.
wrongful death.
Yeah.
Oh, so sorry, not to switch the subject, but I just watched the Brittany Murphy documentary that is
Oh, fuck, I
on
forgot
HBO,
that's on.
and it is it's very good. It's a lot of the same sort of information that I've heard because I've watched like every Brittany because that story is
There's one
so
on
bizarre.
Hulu. There's a documentary on Hulu too. I've seen
Yeah.
that one, but not the HBO.
But the HBO one just came out. But the reason I bring it up is one of the people that they interview is Perez Hilton, and and it's really interesting because I think he's had some self-reflection time,
Yeah.
and he was just like, I didn't look at these people as people. They were characters, and Perez Hilton was a
Mhm.
character.
Yeah.
And he was like, because he said that there was an interview where somebody asked him, like, who do you think's going to die this year? And he said Brittany Murphy. And he was just like, what a disgusting, he was like, it was disgusting of the interviewer to ask me. He was like, it was disgusting of me to answer. And,
Was it
he
the
was,
year that she died?
yeah, it was like within.
It is wild
not
during
long.
that time how people were treated and talked about publicly.
Even
Right.
watching Jersey, I watched all of
It's
Jersey Shore again,
crazy.
and all I could think about is how disgusting
Yeah.
all the things that
And
they
it was
say
funny.
are. And it's
Yeah.
vile and
Absolutely.
gross.
I just rewatched. What did I watch the other day? I watched There's Something About Mary,
God.
and I watched another
Sure,
movie
that
that was
doesn't
like
hold up.
from the
I
2009
love those movies.
area. But the thing is, when you watch them now, like, I don't like, there's something about Mary just did not age well in a lot of places for me.
Not at all.
And I was just like,
Well, like same. I watched Ace Ventura.
yeah.
And I was like,
I always hated that movie, but
I was like, there are so many good chunks of this, but like the whole.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
there's just so much of it that's just
it's
completely
like not okay.
completely inappropriate.
The reason I laugh at those movies now is because thinking about
Yeah.
them being acceptable back then and how totally different it is, and I'm like, I feel like I need to take a shower.
It is, and so what was interesting is that he was like, 2009 was like, it was like a really dark year, and then I started thinking about, because I watched a documentary about the 1999 Woodstock, and I was so, because like I wanted to be such a hippie when I was a kid, and I wanted to go to that Woodstock.
Like, turtle tattoo you almost got.
Yeah,
was it the turtle tattoo?
Yeah, it was a little hippie turtle.
That's right.
And so I really desperately wanted to go to that one, and it was the one that was like, the headliners were like Metallica,
Limp
Durst,
Bizkit, Korn,
Limp Bizkit, yeah, exactly. And then like each day they had Jewel and Alanis Morissette, but it's just really weird. And by the end, like, so the whole thing was geared around like angry young white men, and and they burned the fucking thing down, and so I'm just like, oh man, I'm glad now.
Me
looking
too.
Back, watching that I didn't go to that.
So upset because I wanted to go to that.
Because women were getting raped left and right and assaulted. Oh yeah,
you should watch it.
You should. It's a crazy documentary, and so
it's really interesting to see how where pop culture, like we were in society. It's just wild.
Literally watching. I mean, I hate comparing it to Jersey Shore because that is like a dumpster fire of a TV show,
but it's like a collection.
I mean, here's the
shit.
thing: we thought it was disgusting. Like when that show first came out, like we all thought that it was disgusting, but we all couldn't stop watching it because it was a dumpster fire when it was on. Yeah. But even the fact that they were saying things like DTF, it was like, ooh, that's gross. But it wasn't like, you guys are basically sexually assaulting women.
Well,
like,
even like they would talk like that in front of women.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they would call someone like a grenade, and the girl would know what was being said to her,
and she'd still
and she'd still not that it's. I mean,
she can do what she wants.
Women or anything like that. I'm just saying, she is also so normalized around people saying these things that she's just like, oh fuck. They're just where you're like, you're being such an asshole. But for some reason, I'm still like attracted to you, and it's annoying that we think like that. Because you shouldn't be talked to like that.
No, but I think for between 1990 and like 2010, it was just this very, I don't know. I mean, it was when political correctness as a thing was starting to happen, and people were like, you shouldn't say the R word, you shouldn't do these different things.
Oh my god, hearing that word also just...
Well, and I think that's why, because Matt Dillon says that in There's something about Mary, and I was just like, ooh.
Oh,
like,
I remember that scene. I specifically remember that scene.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, I work with, and I had
with
the same,
R words is what he says, and you're like, ugh.
I did. I had the same body clench that I had.
It's gross. Okay, Robert Durst. So I didn't actually read the article that you guys sent me.
So basically,
God bless this woman's memory right here.
We could not. Oh,
can't ask me anything from my master's dissertation. Wouldn't remember it.
She doesn't know how to set up the podcast, but she knows.
I have a really hard time with TikTok, but I know details. So Robert Durst. So if you haven't seen The Jinx, Robert Durst is suspected of killing his first wife, Kathy, who was awesome. Breaks my heart. Anyway, and if you ever see the movie All Good Things, that with Kirsten Dunst and
Baby Goose.
Ryan Gosling.
Baby Goose?
Baby Goose, that was one of his nicknames. Baby Goose.
So, because Gosling is
that's so
that
cute.
is not for Baby Goose. Okay.
It is.
You didn't know that?
That's so cute.
Oh my god.
Baby Goose.
So Robert Durst was suspected of murdering his first wife. He also murdered and dismembered a neighbor, and was acquitted of that. And then later he was suspected of killing his lifelong friend Susan Berman. And so this trial, since The Jinx came out,
it's been
this trial's been going on for years, and
years.
He's got bladder cancer now. He does not look.
He looks like pure death.
He looks like death.
He's
he's gonna.
He looks pretty rough.
But he was found guilty, and they were able to give, the impact statements. The family were able to give impact statements, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, which is wonderful. I don't think he's gonna last very long.
No.
But at least that finally came through.
At least he was in jail that whole time.
Yeah. And hopefully, hopefully before he dies, he'll tell us where Kathy's body is.
He won't.
He won't.
Have you seen pictures of him in jail? He's stoked
to be in jail.
He just is smiling, and then he's like posing with other.
It's so weird.
Prisoners. It's just
weird.
I don't know what it is about him.
Oh, he's like a slimy.
Slimy.
I don't know. Like, I watch the Jinx, and I find him
endearing.
A little endearing. He's very fascinating.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a hard time reconciling how I feel about him, because he's definitely
gross.
Yeah, he is a bad man. He is a murderer. But the thing is, I don't think he murders people, and this doesn't make it better, but I don't think he murders people to get enjoyment out of it or because he likes to murder people. It's like he's so
just like this
focused that it's like it's just a way for him to take care of a problem. Yes. And there's just no empathy. There's no.
Well, maybe he's a sociopath.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
definitely, I mean,
because the way he talked, he was just like, man, what? Yeah.
I mean, he just doesn't. Yeah.
There was something where I was watching something and someone was getting interviewed, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta pee or something," and he goes, "You better take this mic so I don't fucking confess something in the bathroom." Oh
yeah, that's the best thing, and I'm not gonna say what it is, but
you have to watch it.
The
it's
last
really good.
Few moments of the last episode of The Jinx, and I was really upset when I found out that like Jarecki kind of maneuvered things to make that a bigger impact than it would have been otherwise. But just the fact that it is what it is,
is wild.
I mean, you get to the last couple minutes and you're like, oh fuck. Yeah. And that clip is part of, I mean, the jury heard it, and it's part of what convicted him. So
oh wow,
good job, Andrew Jarecki. Another little tidbit of trivia about Andrew Jarecki. So he did The Jinx. He also was the director for All Good Things, which is how he and Durst got hooked up in the first place, because Durst saw the movie.
That's right.
And then called up Andrew Jarecki.
It's been a long time since I've watched that.
Weird.
Me too, but it's all up here.
Thank God.
Was The Jinx was one of those stories that I wanted to have like the Charlie Day board. With,
like all the red
with the yard. And,
yeah. This was our shoot the shit.
Shoot that shit. Yeah.
Tell us what you think about these, because it's kind of like our bitch session for a minute, but you guys seem to like it.
Well, and the fact that like we have all covered like there was a lot of butchering that I was in my head for many weeks there. And then we've all had some really deep personal shit happen. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of one of the reasons why, we missed an episode, because we all needed to take a minute for our mental health. And if that
my hard drive's a bitch.
And her hard drive's a bitch. We'll put a post out too, because one of Emily's dogs ate the cord.
She didn't eat it.
She didn't. That's right.
It was a real accident, but I'm just learning the difference between hard drives, and I was unaware that the one I bought was not the right one for what I'm doing, and so I had to buy a new one, and it's the whole thing. Okay, that was our Shoot the Shit show. Okay, bye. Remember who you are, what you represent. Thanks for listening to this week's episode. We put out new episodes every single Wednesday, and if you're impatient like me, be sure to become a Patreon, where you can get your episodes early each week. For as little as $2 a month, you not only significantly support the production of this podcast, but you'll also get extra benefits and perks for being one of our special Patreon Weirdlings. Go to patreon.com/threesacrime for more information. For all of our links related to our socials, affiliate codes, where to listen, and everything else, go to linktree/threesacrime.